What's up, Ryan K here with another segment of Ask Ryan. Today I have a question from, oh man, I can't see your name. I gotta scroll down. D. D has this question right here. Dorme, I believe is her name, which I hope I pronounced it right. It's a pretty name. So here's her question. How she had a long time job and left, and now she's struggling with what to do next. And she feels like her resume is her downfall and what's holding her back. She doesn't have a college degree. She worked for the federal government for the IRS for a long time. Gosh, 18 years, and then decided to leave. Now she's bounced around in a few different roles, and she's trying to figure out how to find a position in finance, operations management, or any entry level position that will lead her to a fruitful career. So here's the answer. Step one. This is the best first step, being open to literally anything, saying, look, I just want to find how to get on a path that leads somewhere. That is the number one first step. A lot of people leaving a job, especially in the government sector, in teaching, etc., there's a bunch of things that they have to change in their mindset as they switch over to the private sector, and being open and willing to accept that they're going to have to make a bunch of changes is probably the first step. The second step is mindset. One of the biggest difference between the federal government, the state government, county government, and the school system, the public education area, is that education and how long you've been doing something dictates your opportunities. It dictates your pay, it dictates your potential, and dictates your opportunities. It's actually one of the reasons why when I was in college, I was studying flying and studying accounting and business, and I went with business because I didn't want to be stuck having to wait my turn in line to get the promotion I wanted or to make the money I wanted to make. But the downside is when you switch from that concept, that power structure of tenure, of how long you've been doing the job matters and your education matters, and it's purely those two dynamics that set your pay and what jobs are available, over to the private sector. Number one, it opens up massive amount of opportunities, but number two, it means that a lot of the stuff you did before is not going to help you get that job in the career path you're on. So that's the second step. Change your mindset. Number three, the most important thing you can do is gather more context. And by context, I mean you're going to have to pick what your next chapter in your life is going to look like the next 3 or 5 years. I would shrink it up. I wouldn't be looking for the perfect career for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years. Pick the overall topic. In the private sector, that overall topic generally means, do I want to be on the client acquisition side of the house, meaning marketing and sales and that? Do I want to be in the more support side of the house where I support clients, whether that's support or customer service or whatever? Do I want to be in the product area where I'm building, creating, managing a product, whether it's a physical product or a software product or whatever? Or do I want to be on the administrative side, HR and accounting and etc.? Those four areas are vastly different from each other. And so you really have to figure out, number one, where you're most interested. That's the first step. Figure out which of those four pots you're most interested in. Number two, figure out what industry you're most interested in. The industry actually probably comes first, but those two concepts, what subject matter, the four parts, and what industry, whether it's travel or hospitality or restaurants or manufacturing or you name it. Those two things will give you the ability to start leveling up your knowledge and thereby your backstory, who you are, right? It starts to give you books to read and associations to join and Facebook and LinkedIn groups to be a member of. It starts to dictate who you should be connecting with on LinkedIn when you know the industry and the functional area of the business. And so those are kind of the first decisions to make. What industry and what functional area of the business. At that point, you can then start doing research on the different people who are out there in LinkedIn or in Indeed's resume database. You want to know what the different job roles are and what the different options are and what the progression is from starting out to climbing that ladder in that area. The way you find out what those options are is start with who, not what. And what I mean by that is go find some people online in LinkedIn that you can say, ooh, I would love that career path. You can start with the people you know. You can reach out to people on LinkedIn that you don't know and just say, hey, I'm interested in getting into marketing in the retail sector. And it looks like that's the pathway you've been on. I'd love to chat and hear about what you like, what you don't like, what you found to be the coolest part of your job, et cetera, et cetera. And so finding those people, whether it's online, whether it's in person. If you know the industry, then most likely you can find an association or meetup or conference going on. You can find a local chamber of commerce to go engage in. But mostly when you know the industry or you know the role, then you can start finding where those people hang out. Because even with COVID, on any given month, there are meetups and luncheons and breakfast sessions and networking sessions in every industry, in every role in your local community. And you just need to go and get around those people. There's a great book called The Proximity Principle. And the idea is the number one way to get into that area is to get around people doing those things. And so once you know the industry and the kind of functional area, then you just need to get around those people. Find out what they know, what they learn, what they read, what they've read, what things they're interested in, what software they use. Just immerse yourself in learning in any way you can about those things. That will normally get you the number one question you're going to want to ask of any of those people, which is, what is the best role for an entry-level person to get into if they want to walk this path? That's number one. And number two, what is the best local company that hires for those roles, that hires entry-level people? And that will start to point you in the direction of a referral into that company or into that role. And so that's the pathway that I always take. Again, change your mindset, understand your paradigm, understand that this is how you kind of hack your way into those jobs. You're an underdog, that's great, but that means you're going to have to be creative about how you go about doing this. Yes, you will need to level up your resume so that you can actually get into those roles, but leveling up your resume and getting a referral, the referral is actually probably more powerful. And the best way that you can get into that referral is to get around people that work in that job right now. They're most likely to know about the openings. They're most likely to be able to refer you in. They're the ones that know. You can look at their resume. That's what your resume needs to look like. Once you've identified an industry, a functional area, and an actual job, then you can go and find people's resumes or LinkedIn profiles that do that job and figure out what's the difference between your resume and theirs. Most likely for you, you're going to have to tone down your resume. All that previous experience is going to lead to this very long, irrelevant resume. And so what you're going to want to do is switch from a chronological resume of what jobs did I have in what order to a subject-based resume where you're focusing specifically on any knowledge, skills, experience you have around the given industry, around the given functional area, and around the given actual job that you're trying to get. Switching to that makes you more likely to get an interview. In that interview, you can bring your full resume and you can talk to them about why you're trying to transition and what it is you're looking for and understanding those parts. But it will at least get you into an interview where you can actually have those conversations. And again, I can't stress this enough. Referral, referral, referral. Get around the people doing the job and working at the types of companies you want to work at, because that referral makes you 5 times more likely to get an interview. Do not apply via the job boards. Use the job boards to research the jobs that are out there. Use the job boards to research the companies that are out there. Use the job boards to be alerted when there is an opening. But the best way to apply is to actually go to their career site and apply and use an employee's name as the person who referred you. That makes you much more likely to rise to the top of the stack. Also then follow up after you apply with that person and with the HR person or manager to let them know and to increase, make a valid connection, add valuable content, tell them introduce yourself to them, and in any way you can to show them your LinkedIn profile that should be much more tuned towards the job you want and why it is that you'll do great at that job versus your previous work history and where you came from. So thank you so much for your question. Hopefully this video finds you well. If you have questions for me, I would love to hear them. Shoot me an email, askryan@refer.io, or go visit refer.io/askryan. Submit your question. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to be able to answer it. And until next time, good luck with your job search.